only 1% wake up like this morning secret to total control. Hey, I am talking to you. Every morning when you open your eyes, it is like the gates of a fortress slowly opening. But instead of standing guard, you let the enemy rush in. The phone is ringing, notifications, text messages, and social media. They pour through the gate and take over your mind before you take a deep breath. And from that very moment, you have already lost your own command. Please pay attention to it. One piece of bad news, one quick comment, one unanswered email. They hit like arrows against your fortress. Your heart starts racing. Your mind runs with worry. The whole day you are dragged into hurry, stress, and exhaustion. A fortress left unguarded will collapse sooner or later. And the harsh truth is, most people today are living exactly like that. You wake up, but in reality you are still asleep. You hand over control of your mind to a screen. You let the outside world define your mood, dictate your energy, and lead you like someone on a leash. That is why you still feel tired even after 8 hours of sleep. That is why the moment you open your eyes, you already feel drained. You are not losing because of a lack of sleep, you are losing because you lost your sovereignty. But the Stoics were not like that. They understood that the morning is the gate. Whoever controls the gate controls the fortress. To them, the morning is not some vague stretch of time. It is the place where it is decided whether you will live as an enslaved person or as a ruler. A Stoic does not wait for motivation, does not wait for inspiration. They step out of bed with discipline. They sit in silence to let their mind settle. They picture what is coming and prepare themselves to meet it. They build walls and pillars to protect the peace inside. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each dawn that to live, breathe, and love is a privilege. Seneca wrote that whoever prepares for hardship in advance robs hardship of its power to break him. Epictetus taught that we do not control events outside us, but we do control how we respond. These are not just words, they are weapons. And the first weapon is forged before the sun even rises. Picture two different mornings. One man wakes up, reaches for his phone, swipes through dozens of notifications, reads some bad news, compares himself to others, and instantly feels small. He leaves the house already in chaos and spends the day chasing the pace of the world. Now picture another man. He wakes up and gets out of bed when the alarm rings. He takes a deep breath, sits silently, and writes down a few lines about what he knows he can control. He remembers that today will bring challenges, and he is ready. He steps out of the house like a warrior, not because the world will be easy, but because his mind is prepared to face it. Where does the difference lie? Not in the hours of sleep, not in physical strength. It lies in how they guard the gate of the morning. One side leaves the fortress open, the other side has guards, thick walls, and weapons ready. The morning is your inner fortress. Whoever guards the morning guards the whole day. Whoever abandons the morning lets the entire day be conquered. And as the days add up, you will see that your life is either built into a fortress or overrun. Today I will take you through 7 levels of this inner fortress. Each level is a test. Each level is a choice. You can stop, turn back, or keep climbing and grow stronger at every step. When you walk through all 7 levels, you will not only master your morning, but you will master your entire life. 1. The gate of discipline. You meet a cold truth when you step through the inner fortress's first gate. No one else but you will open or lock this gate. Its name is discipline, and it usually shows up in the smallest moment when the alarm goes off. Be honest. How many times have you hit snooze? How many times have you whispered in your head, "Just 5 more minutes"? And then those 5 minutes turn into 10, turn into 30, turn into a whole day that begins with guilt and sluggishness. It seems small, but that is how you let the enemy walk through the gate. The enemy here is not someone outside, it is the weakness inside you. Marcus Aurelius used to remind himself each morning, when it feels hard to get up, remember this: you were not born to curl under the blankets, you were born to act as a human being. That reminder echoed nearly 2,000 years ago, but today it still carries the same power, because human nature has not changed. Everyone wants comfort, everyone wants ease. But the truth is, the more you surrender to comfort, the more you lose control. Every day Americans feel this each morning too. Think of an office worker in Chicago. His alarm rings at 6. He knows he should get up to exercise, but outside the window the cold bites, and right next to his pillow his phone lights up with endless notifications. If he chooses to curl back under the covers and hit snooze, his day begins in surrender. He arrives late to work. He walks into the office being pulled instead of leading, and that ripple spreads into every other decision. Now picture someone else stepping through the gate of discipline. The alarm rings. He sits up right away, no negotiation. He stands like a soldier, not because of motivation, not because of inspiration, because of discipline. The moment his feet hit the floor, he sends a powerful message: I am the one in charge. I say it, and I do it. And in that small instant, he has already won his first battle. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery does not begin with big dramatic acts. It starts with small repeated choices until they become your character. Morning discipline is the root. It is like the hinge of a door. Once the hinge is firm, the door can stand against endless blows. People ask, so what makes the difference? The answer lies in how you deal with inconvenience. Most people try to escape it. A Stoic walks into it. Most people wait for inspiration before they act. A Stoic acts until inspiration comes. Most people ask, do I feel like it? A Stoic asks, do I need it? Remember, the gate of discipline does not ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to be honest with yourself. Suppose you promise to wake up at 6, then stand up at 6, not because of the clock, but because you are training yourself to be trustworthy. You cannot trust others if you do not trust yourself, and nothing drains your strength faster than breaking promises with yourself. In America, many people turn to self-improvement programs, gym memberships, marathon training, and morning meditation. But often they quit after a few weeks, not because they are incapable, but because they never passed through the first gate. They wanted significant results, but stumbled on small decisions. The snooze button is a hidden thief. It does not just take a few minutes. It steals your honor. It steals the trust you have in yourself. Seneca once wrote, "We do not have little time, we waste much of it." Every morning you hit snooze, you are signing away the time of your life. Every morning you rise on time and sign back the ownership of your life. See the morning as the gate of the fortress. Out there is the world with its chaos and challenges. Do not expect to hold the fortress if you leave the gate wide open at the start. But if you stand guard, firm, disciplined, you have laid the foundation for the whole day. This is the first test, and it is the foundation. You can move into the court of silence only after you pass the gate of discipline. Strength does not come from rushing action, but from deep stillness inside. But before you reach that stillness, you must first defeat your laziness. 2. The court of silence. When you pass through the gate of discipline, you step into the first court of the inner fortress. Here there are no audiences, no applause, no bulletin boards, only silence. And it is here where most people turn back and only a few move forward, because silence is where you face yourself without the mask of music, news, or notifications to shield you. Most people are afraid of silence. They open their eyes and instantly switch on a device, switch on noise, switch on the whole world. They need sound to fill the emptiness. But the more they fill it, the wider the emptiness becomes. Because what is missing is not noise, what is missing is presence. The Stoics understood this. They knew the morning was when the mind was softest, like clay. Freshly shaped, whatever you press into it, it will hold that shape all day. If you pour noise into it, the day will be noisy. If you pour silence into it, the day will be calm. Now you look at your own morning habit. You wake up and your hand reaches for the screen. A negative headline, a short video, a photo that makes you compare yourself. Within minutes, your heartbeat rises, your breath slows, and your mind disappears. Before you even leave bed, the first arrow has already hit the fortress. The court is lost, the gate is weak, and the walls will crack next. The Stoics did it differently. They gave themselves a court that no one else was allowed to enter. In that court they sat upright, feet firm on the ground, eyes half closed or gently open, breath slowing down. They did not force thoughts out. They watched thoughts pass like clouds. They named a worry, a burst of anger, a wave of fear. When called, the feeling lost strength. When breathing deep and steady, the body sends safety signals to the brain. The mind slowed and clarity returned. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that you do not need to run to the mountains or the sea to find peace. You only need to turn inward, and there you will always have a place of refuge. That was not poetry, but a survival skill in a noisy world. Epictetus advised that if you want to improve, accept being seen as slow to life matters, meaning you do not need to answer every call from outside, especially in the first hour of the day. Picture two mornings in the same city. A man in New York turns on the TV when the alarm rings, reads about an accident far away, scrolls through 3 pointless debates, sees a co-worker showing off a success, and stands up feeling smaller and insecure. A woman in New York wakes up 15 minutes earlier, leaves her phone in another room, pours warm water, sits still, counts her breaths, writes one line about the energy she wants to carry through the day. Both live in the same world, but enter the day through two different doors. One through noise, one through silence, and the results last for the next 12 hours. Silence does not slow you down, silence resets you. It brings body and mind back into the same rhythm. It gives you the power to see before reacting. It teaches you to hear your own voice before hearing the voices of others. This is when you sweep the court, gather the leftover pieces of yesterday's emotions, set them down, and tell yourself, today, I begin from peace. Modern science agrees. When you breathe deep and slow, the nervous system shifts into recovery mode. Stress hormones decrease, and the brain areas for focus and reason light up. You do not need the terms to understand the mechanism. You need to feel it. After 10 minutes of silence, you feel your body warm, your mind lighter, and your eyes open wider without rushing. You will find yourself reacting less, choosing more. One important note is that the court of silence is not about forcing emptiness or running away. It is about acceptance. A thought comes, you name it. A feeling comes, and you recognize it. No judgment, no clinging. Standing still in the court teaches you to let everything pass without pulling you along. This is the most subtle skill of guarding the gate. Do not fool yourself into thinking that you can be silent while scrolling through the news. One touch of the screen is like letting strangers march into the court. They shout, they argue, they scatter flyers. In a few minutes, the court is full of trash. So set a clear boundary. Phone in another room, TV off, computer closed, just you and your breath. If you have children, wake up 15 minutes earlier than they do. If your work starts early, take 5 minutes instead of 10. The number is not essential. The principle, island. The first hour belongs to you. You can add a small ritual to anchor the silence. Drink a glass of warm water and feel your throat soften. Open a window, breathe the air, whether it smells of rain, the street, or the morning city. Place your hand on your chest, hear your heartbeat, remind yourself in a short phrase, I am here, I am awake, I am calm. Write one brief line. Today, I choose patience, courage, discipline, or compassion. One line is enough, like a small nail holding the frame of a big picture for the day. The court of silence teaches you to endure short emptiness in exchange for long fullness. After a few weeks, you will notice a quiet shift. Noise no longer pulls you away easily. Harsh words from someone no longer pierce you. Bad news no longer ruins your morning. You do not become numb, you become boundaries. In America, many people complain that they do not have time. But the truth is, they let the first hour get stolen. When you give back 10 or 15 minutes to silence, you invest in energy for the next 10 or 12 hours. That is the highest return you will ever get. No tool is cheaper, no exercise is easier, and no benefit is more apparent. Here is a simple practice. Before bed, leave your phone in another room. In the morning, drink a glass of water, sit upright, both feet on the ground. Set a timer for 10 minutes, no screens. Breathe in for 4 counts, breathe out for 6, keep it steady. When a thought pulls you away, name it with one word. Worry, anger, fear, then come back to the breath. End with a short reminder. Today I choose calm and presence. Write one line in your journal. What energy am I carrying today? Repeat this for 30 days and the court will grow stronger, the walls will be higher, and the gate will be firmer. You need the next step, once you have secured the court of silence. Silence gives you the foundation, but you must know where the enemy might come from to defend the fortress all day. You need a map of risks, a response plan, and a war room for the mind. Now step into the strategy room where you learn to face the day before it even begins, so that nothing surprises you. 3. The strategy room. After holding the court of silence, you step into the strategy room. Here there is no luck. Here there is preparation, because a day rarely goes exactly the way you want. Traffic jams, urgent emails, overloaded schedules, careless words, bad news. If you have no plan, you get dragged around. If you have a plan, you lead. The Stoics trained a classic habit, premeditation malo rum, to imagine the difficulties ahead, not to be pessimistic, but to weaken the shock of surprise. Seneca said that whoever sees trouble coming takes away most of its power. The strength of hardship usually lies in its surprise. When you have rehearsed, you no longer panic. The strategy room begins with the line of control. There are things you command when you wake up, like how you breathe and speak. How do you work? And there are things you do not command. The weather, the mood of others, the events outside. The Stoics kept 2 short lists of what I control and do not control. When the line is clear, the mind is less tangled. Energy stops leaking into what is useless. Now comes the 5-minute ritual. Place your hand on the table, take a notebook and a pen. Write 3 lines about challenges that might happen today. A tough situation at work, a phone call that could bring pressure. A window of time is easy to lose focus. Then write 3 lines about the chosen responses. Slow breathing. Answer only after being calm. Return to the main task within 3 minutes. Pick one virtue as your standard. Patience, courage, discipline. Write down one opening action. 5 minutes clearing the desk. 3 important emails. 15 minutes on the number 1 task. End with a reset ritual. When you slip, stand up, walk for 3 minutes, breathe in 4 counts, breathe out 6 counts, and return to the task. Look at real life. A nurse in Boston steps into the morning shift. Patients crowding, machines beeping, families tense. She had written in her notebook, "Expect delays, expect harsh words." The response was a low voice, short sentences, steady eyes, and slow breathing. The day's virtue was calm. When the pressure rose, she touched her wrist and counted breaths quietly. That small plan kept her steady. A delivery driver in Dallas faces traffic and constant schedule changes. He wrote a single line, slow but accurate. Whenever a horn blared, he dropped his shoulders, looked farther ahead, and kept a safe distance. He did not argue in his head. He accepted the part he did not control. Then he did well with the part he did. An office worker in Seattle knows his bad habit. 10 in the morning is his time to drift into the internet. He wrote on paper, 10 o'clock, stand up, drink water, close unused tabs open, only one crucial file. He set a timer for 30 minutes of focus. When his mind wandered, he read back the day's standard. Discipline. Then he returned. The strategy room needs short scripts. When criticized, pause for 10 seconds, recall the standard reply with facts, and leave out emotion. In traffic, turn on soft music or silence. Choose slow but steady. Let one car pass, call it a patience drill. When urgent emails arrive, draft in 1 minute. Pause for 10 seconds, reread, shorten sentences, and send only after slow breathing. When procrastination comes, count down from 5. Place your hands on the keyboard. Type the first line. Get started within 2 minutes, and momentum will follow. Rehearse in your imagination. Sit still and picture a co-worker saying something harsh. You feel your heartbeat rise, the heat in your chest. Then you imagine taking a long breath, raising your eyes, answering in short, clear words. Picture traffic stalling before an important meeting. You feel the restlessness, then you look at the wheel, drop your shoulders, call ahead, and choose calm instead of rage. This rehearsal is a gym for emotions. Each run-through adds muscle to the will. For a strategy to work, you must reduce bad friction and increase good friction. Phone on silent in the first hour. Notifications off until after the morning ritual. Desk clear. The task list only has 3 lines, a calendar with 15-minute buffers between jobs. Everything necessary is in sight. Everything distracting is out of sight. When a shock comes, embrace it as a drill. The Stoics spoke of amor fate, the love of fate, not resignation, but turning obstacles into materials. A cancelled meeting becomes space to refine the plan. A technical error becomes a guide for prevention. A harsh critique becomes a chance to sharpen delivery. In the strategy room, everything can be transformed. Write the plan on paper, a small card in your wallet, a sticky note on your screen. Only 5 lines, possible challenges, chosen responses, virtue of the day, first task, reset ritual. Do not expect memory to save you. Let the paper save you. When pulled away, glance back at the card, follow the line you wrote. You can use 3 starting questions each morning. What challenge will I face today? How will I respond? What virtue will I live by? 3 questions are enough to build a frame for the whole day. No need for big promises, just small, clear commitments. The strategy room also needs a recovery plan. Slipping is not failure. Slipping and not returning is failure. When you notice drift, stand and walk for 3 minutes. Drink water. Breathe slowly. Read the card. Begin again with the first task. A reset loop takes only 5 minutes. 5 minutes can save a day. Do not forget the balance between push and pause. Strategy is not cramming tasks. Strategy is setting the rhythm. 45 minutes of focus, 15 minutes of recovery, natural light, a stretch, 1 long look away from the screen. These details are the oil for the willpower machine. When you leave the strategy room, you carry a map. You no longer hold vague hope that the day will flow smoothly. You accept the truth that the day will test you, then you choose how to answer. You know where you will slip, and you already have the correction. You know where you will weaken, and you already have the boost. But no strategy can stand without a core anchor, no matter how sharp. Without a center point, the map spins with the winds of emotion. That is why, after planning, you must raise a pillar, 1 short reminder, 1 truth you will return to many times in the day. Now step into the pillar of truth. There you will choose 1 line as your compass, and that line will keep you standing straight in the storm. 4. The pillar of truth. Leaving the strategy room, you need an anchor so that all your plans do not spin with the winds of emotion. That anchor is the pillar of truth. 1 short line, clear, solid, repeated enough to become the axis of the whole day. It is not a slogan or a cheer, but a calm and steady inner command. The Stoics knew that in the morning the self is soft. 1 wrong thought can bend the whole day, so they chose a core truth and tied themselves to it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that our power lies in how we see and respond. Epictetus stressed that our judgments decide our suffering. Seneca reminded us that most pain comes from imagination, not reality. These thoughts lead to 1 point. Choose 1 line as your pillar. The pillar of truth must be short, belong to you. Speak about what you control and point to character, not just results. Lines like these can work. Today, I master my reactions. Today, I choose to be calm before I decide to be right. Today, I put discipline before emotion. Today, I am patient and brave. I speak less and do more. Do not choose 10 lines, choose 1, and then live with it until it sinks into your gestures, eyes, and breathing. Now test your line with 4 questions. Does it speak about what I control? Can it be said in 1 breath? Does it point to a specific virtue? Does it make me stand taller when I read it? If all 4 are yes, you have a good pillar. If not, adjust until it fits. A teacher in Texas chose the line, "I am calm and fair in every situation." She read it thrice each morning while standing tall and breathing slowly. On her desk was a small card with the same line. When the class got noisy, when words turned rude, she touched the card, lowered her voice, and let her behavior match the pillar. A paramedic in Phoenix chose the line, "I am fast but not rushed, and I am precise under pressure." Each shift he repeated it before walking out of the break room. When sirens roared, the line pulled him back to center. A single father in Ohio chose the line, "I am fully present for the first 15 minutes each night with my child." That line helped him set the phone down, sit on the floor and play with his kid, which was the day's victory. The pillar of truth is not a numbing drug. It does not deny hardship. It does not paint over reality. It only reminds you of the role and the virtue you have chosen. Thanks to that, you do not forget who you are when storms rise. You may slip and stumble, but you have a core to return to. Without a pillar, every strategy turns to thin paper. With a pillar, even when plans break, you still stand upright. Tie the pillar with body and breath. Read the line while standing, tall shoulders open, chin tucked, eyes level. Breathe in for 4 counts, out for 6. Speak it out on the exhale. Feel the line sink into your chest, spread to your arms, press into your hands. When your body carries the line shape, the mind will follow. Place the pillar where your eyes will touch it. A card in your wallet, a note taped by the screen, a small slip on the bathroom mirror, a reminder in your car, not to show off, but to whisper. Each time your eyes pass by, the pillar speaks again. When a stressful notification comes, look at the pillar first, then the screen. When about to answer a hard email, read the pillar first, then type. When about to argue, touch the pillar, then speak. Do not fall into the trap of collecting quotes. Collecting makes you go wide but not deep. Choose one line and live with it for 7, 14, and 30 days. If it no longer fits, change after a full round. But if you change daily, you are following noise in another form. Some prefer lines in the form of statements. I am, I choose, I do. Others prefer guiding questions. What would a strong person do right now? What would a disciplined person say right now? How would a calm person breathe right now? Both work. What matters is that it makes you pause for half a second, then choose a response half a step better. That half step repeated builds a different life. When you slip from the pillar, do not crush yourself with blame. Responsibility is not self-torture. Responsibility is knowing you drifted, then bringing yourself back. Use a reset ritual. Read the pillar once, take a long breath, write one line, what do I do now, then act. The pillar is for return, not for judgment. You can craft your pillar with 5 steps. Choose the main virtue of the week: discipline, courage, patience, or integrity. 2. Write the line in the present tense, short and with a verb. Today, I act with discipline. 3. Tie the line to a specific context in meetings, on the road, or at home. 4. Tie the line to a small, verifiable act. Reply with short sentences. Walk 1 pace slower and put the phone down when talking. Place the line at 3 touch points: the mirror, the desk, and the steering wheel. When the line meets all 5, it becomes a firm pillar. A businessman in San Diego once admitted that every time the market shook, he lost himself in panic. He chose the pillar. I slow my reaction, I decide only after being calm. He taped it to his screen, set a 10-minute timer before every big decision, walked around the office, breathed, read the pillar, then signed. Profits did not skyrocket, but losses from haste dropped sharply. Practical and humble, that was the strength of the pillar. The pillar of truth grows stronger when written down. The mind is fast, the hand is slow. When your hand writes, the line lasts longer. Each morning, copy the pillar once in a notebook. Read it aloud, stand tall, breathe steady. Fix your eyes on one point, no rush. 50 seconds only, but those 50 seconds spin the whole day on a steady axis. You have a spine for the day when you leave the pillar of truth. Strategy is in place and the pillar is raised. It is time to carve them into the mind with ink. You need a quiet room, a table, a page, and a few honest questions. That is the chamber of reflection, where you write to master your mind, where words become a defense fence, and where silence connects with action. Step in, sit down, and let the first lines thicken your fortress walls. 5. The chamber of reflection. When the pillar is raised, you need a room to carve it into your mind. That room is the chamber of reflection. It is where you write to see yourself clearly, where words turn into a fence that guards the mind against life's storms. Writing is not for display. Writing is for awareness, cutting the noise and pulling the mind back into place. Each line was short, each breath was steady, and each thought was clear. You do not need fancy words. What you need is honesty and repetition every morning in silence, right after the pillar of truth. The Stoics practiced this for centuries. Marcus Aurelius wrote only for himself, not for crowds, and he wrote short lines to remind himself who he was. Seneca wrote letters to sharpen his thinking and live by principle. Epictetus stressed that our judgments create either pain or peace. Writing is how you adjust your decisions. Writing is how you bring emotions back under the guidance of reason. When you hold the pen, you slow down. When you slow down, you see clearly the line between events and opinions, between noise and truth. The chamber needs very little: a clean desk, a notebook, a pen, soft light, a glass of warm water, a steady chair, and 5 to 10 minutes without disturbance. The chamber needs one small promise. Each morning I sit and write a few lines at the set time, no matter my mood, because I do not write to perform, I write to take command. Once the rule is set, you reduce friction. Notebook left open on the desk, pen placed across the writing hand, phone in another room. The window is cracked for fresh air. That is enough. You can use a simple frame with 4 lines, short and real. Line 1, how am I feeling? Name the emotion. Calm, restless, anxious, confident, cheerful, tired. Naming already makes it weaker. Line 2, what I do not control. It might rain, traffic might stall, people may change plans, and the computer may crash. Write it to stop the illusion of control, then leave it. Line 3, what I do control. Slow breath, short words, steady tone, clear steps into the task. This part is yours. Line 4, the virtues I train today. Discipline, patience, courage, and integrity. One word is enough, it will follow you tonight. If you need an extra line, write a reset command for when you slip. When I get pulled away, I stop, breathe slowly, read the pillar, and start again with the first task. This line is the rope that pulls you out of the current. Please do not turn the session into an essay or make it a burden. The rule is short, steady, and honest. You can write more when needed, but most days 4 or 5 lines are enough to raise the fence. Look at American life and see the quiet power of the chamber. A nurse in Denver writes 3 lines before her shift. Today I am calm, I listen, and I speak short. Those words kept her breathing steady during the noise of the ER. A programmer in Austin writes 1 line: I will stand up for 5 minutes at 10, drink water, and reset focus. At 10 he stands. A single mother in Phoenix writes that the first 15 minutes belong entirely to my child. Phone away tonight. The handwritten line turns into action, and she sits on the floor and plays with her kid at night. That is the victory of the day. Writing is also a way to handle strong emotions. When angry, use a 12-word frame. I am angry. I do not know enough, so I will not send this now. Then put the pen down, breathe slowly, and delay the decision. When afraid, write, I am so scared. I take the first small step, and I keep my pace slow. Then set a 5-minute timer and take the first step. When restless, write, I am restless. I speak less, I do more. Then return to the desk, complete 1 task that fits in 15 minutes. Words lead to action, and action cools emotion. Some days your mind will feel blank and no words will come. That is normal. Copy the pillar instead. Copy it 5 times, 1 line each time. Stand tall while writing. Breathe in 4 counts, breathe out 6, eyes level. When the body holds the shape of steadiness, the words return. If still blank, write 3 gratitudes, warm water, light a friend, then stop, do not force. The chamber does not ask for achievement, the chamber asks for honesty with the present. To keep discipline, you can add a small midday loop. Reread the morning page at noon and mark progress on the first task. If off track, add 1 reset line. What do I do in 5 minutes? Call outline, clear the desk, 1 explicit action. In the evening, check against the 4 lines of the morning, did you live close to the pillar? If I haven't written 1 lesson yet, I will do something differently tomorrow. Close the page, no self-torture, only learning and moving forward. The chamber is not a court to condemn yourself. The chamber is a mirror to adjust direction. If each page turns into a trial, you will fear sitting down. Keep the tone kind but serious, honest about errors but without labeling yourself. You failed in an act, you are not the failure. You are training. Training means repeating. Training means heat and cool. Training means persistence. When writing becomes steady, you will find another benefit. Your memory stops carrying every detail. Your mind stops spinning in fear of forgetting. The page remembers for you. Because the page remembers, your mind is free to focus. Because you focus, you get pulled less. Because you get pulled less, you have more energy for what matters. The circle spins in your favor, starting with a few morning lines. Adding a small frame connects the chamber with the outside world. Write 1 line about how you will speak today. Short words, low tone, eyes steady, no interrupting. Write 1 line about how you will move 1 pace slower with your shoulders open and your chin tucked. Write 1 line about how you will use the phone. No touch in the first hour. Notifications off during work. Phone away at night with family. Words go first, body and mind follow. Do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for free days. Do not wait for the right notebook. Any notebook will do. Any pen will do. What matters is sitting down and writing a few lines at the set time. 1 faint page of ink is better than a blank page. A blank page teaches nothing. A faint page may save your day. When you rise from the chamber of reflection, your walls have gained another layer, and your gate has gained another lock. But the fortress is not guarded by words alone. The fortress also needs a bodyguard. For the mind to stay strong, the body must also be strong. For the strategy to live outside the page, you need clean energy and warm will. That is when you enter the dojo of will, where each small move of the morning trains the tendons of discipline, where sweat turns into oath, and where the body pulls the spirit upright to face the day. 6. The dojo of will. Mind and body are not separate. If the body is weak, the mind will fade. If the body is awake, the mind will stand tall. The dojo of will is where you use the body to pull the spirit back to center. Not flashy, not for show, just small but firm movements like a vow made in sweat each morning. The Stoics knew this long ago. Marcus Aurelius asked himself each dawn if you were born to hide under blankets or rise as a human. Epictetus taught that discipline of the body is the road to discipline of the soul. Seneca reminded me that strength does not come from wishing, but from steady practice. Now you, after writing and centering, let the body say the rest. When you rise, blood moves faster, heartbeat warms, and the brain gets the signal that you are ready. The fog in your head clears like steam on glass. A 10-minute sequence can flip your state. You do not need a gym, you do not need expensive gear. You need a patch of floor, a pair of shoes, a glass of water, and 1 firm decision. Look at American mornings. A warehouse worker in Ohio starts his shift at 5. Before driving off, he drops to the floor for 10 push-ups, stands, does 10 squats, rolls his shoulders, and walks fast around the block for 3 minutes. He posts nothing online, counts no calories, and only keeps the habit of keeping his word to himself. A firefighter in California, before his shift, stretches his hips, climbs ladders for 5 minutes, breathes slowly, and repeats his pillar about precision under pressure. A mother in Minnesota with 2 kids wakes 15 minutes earlier, turns on a warm lamp, stretches her spine, holds a plank, drinks warm water, takes a quick, cool shower, and walks into the morning with clear eyes and a steady voice. The principle of the Dojo of Will is simple, short, and steady. Simple to reduce friction. Short to repeat easily, steady to turn into identity. You can use a 10-minute frame, 1 minute breathing and warm up, 2 minutes of stretching, 3 minutes of light rhythm, 2 minutes of strength without equipment, 2 minutes of cool down and slow breathing. In the first minute, stand tall, breathe in 4 counts, breathe out 6, roll wrists and ankles, rotate shoulders, bend and extend the spine. In the stretch, bend knees, fold forward, touch the floor, lengthen hamstrings, open hips, twist the back. In rhythm, march in place, light jumps, side steps, knee lifts and arms crossing. In strength, knee push-ups if starting, full push-ups if trained, slow, squats back straight and core tight. End with a calm down, hands on chest, 1 long breath with the pillar spoken aloud. If you have more than 10 minutes, extend 15 minutes for rhythm and strength, 30 if you add a brisk walk around the block. If you have less than 10, do 5. 1 minute plank, 1 minute squats, 1 minute push-ups, and 2 minutes of fast steps. Still counts as a win. Discipline does not demand perfection, it requires showing up on time. Cold water in the morning is a simple willpower drill. You do not need a full cold shower if you are not ready. Just wash your face with cold water. Let it remind your body that the day has begun. Let the nerves wake with a clean touch. If trained, finish a shower with 1 cold minute. Breathe slowly. Hold the rhythm, whisper the pillar inside, step out with bright eyes and open shoulders. This is not a stunt to brag, but a ritual to remind yourself that you are acting even when comfort says no. The Dojo of Will is not just for muscles, but for posture. When walking, step half a beat slower, heel behind toe, spine long, shoulders lowered, chin tucked, eyes level. Both feet flat, spine upright, hands on desk, 1 breath before typing. Slow down, keep your voice low, keep sentences short, let willpower flow through each word. Posture is the first language of discipline. It speaks to others, and it speaks to you. Set up good friction to guard the ritual. Clothes lay out by the bed, shoes at the door. Floor cleared the night before. Alarm set at the right mark. Tone is not too harsh or soft, just enough to make you rise. The phone is still in another room, so you do not fall into the screen. A glass of water has already been poured, so you do not delay. Bad friction feeds the snooze button. Good friction is the ally of will. When tired, trade intensity for rhythm. No need to push past your limit. Just show up. Walk around the house for 3 minutes. Stretch lightly. Breathe deep. Write 1 line. Every day you win by showing up. On strong days you win big. On weekdays you win small but still win. Will grows through modest victories like these. If you work night shifts or have tight schedules, adapt. Place the ritual at the start of the change or right before the most critical task. The logic stays, movement to unlock the mind. Breathe to reset the system. Cold water to seal the choice. One small round, one clear mark, one message sent. I am the one who acts, not the one who waits. A driver in Arizona admitted he often snapped during rush hour. He added a 5-minute ritual before driving. Stretch his neck and shoulders, breathe slowly, fold forward to touch his toes, rise slowly, repeat his pillar fast but not rushed, precise under pressure. After 1 month he honked less, argued less, arrived less drained, worked better, and came home calmer. A medical student in Michigan used the 10-minute round before studying. The result was a lighter head and longer study sessions without exhaustion. The dojo of will is also a lesson in limits. You will have sore days, slow days, quitting days. Remember your pillar and reason. Remember you are not training for pictures, you are training to stand firm. Discipline is the bridge from desire to action. Each movement is one plank on that bridge. Miss a day, one plank gone. Miss a week, and a gap opens. Return, lay planks again. The bridge continues and you cross. When the round ends, cool down with breath. Hands on chest, repeat one short line. Today I act with discipline. Bow my head slightly, drink water, and smile with the corner of my lips. You just finished a ritual that supports the whole day. You leave the dojo of will like leaving a barracks, no noise, no pride, only the quiet certainty that you did your part. Yet a fortress needs more than strong walls and solid guards. A fortress also needs a ruler. That is when you step onto the throne of self, where you rehearse the role of the person you choose to be, preview the day like a script, and set your tone stance, and walk before real life begins. From the body you shift to the mind, from motion you move to vision. Now step onto the throne and practice living as your best self. 7. The throne of self. After the body is awake and the mind has its pillar, you step onto the throne of self. This is where you rehearse the role of the person you truly want to be, not perform, but live fully with your values. The Stoics called this living in line with rational nature, which means acting in harmony with your chosen virtue. On the throne, you do not wait for the world to ask. You answer first. Who am I today? Where will I stand when storms come? What will I do when tested? The throne is not glamorous. It is a simple chair in a quiet room. You sit upright, feet on the ground, breathing slowly, guiding your imagination forward. You run your day like a short film. The start is the door leaving home. The middle is the familiar pressure points. The end is when you return and reflect. At each stop you ask one question: what would my best self do? Then you watch yourself doing it. Do not fear visualization. A soldier dry fires before entering the range. An athlete runs the course in his head before the starting line. A surgeon rehearses the steps in memory before entering the operating room. These are all silent rehearsals of the self. A Stoic would not call this daydreaming. They called it rational rehearsal training, so emotions do not grab the wheel when life swerves. Now you choose 3 everyday scenes in your own life. Scene 1, a meeting room, a classroom, or a service counter where you usually feel tense. Scene 2, the street, the kitchen, or the yard where you often rush. Scene 3, alone at night where you usually let go. Close your eyes, play the short film of each scene, notice the light, the noise, the breath, and especially how you stand, how you look, how you speak. You speak in short sentences, your voice steady and your eyes straight. You breathe slowly before answering. You set your hand on the desk and leave the phone untouched. Replay the film twice, 3 times until your body remembers the rhythm. Use the camera test. Imagine a camera follows you all day. At night you watch yourself back. Would you be proud of how you stood in the storm? Did you keep your word to yourself in small things? Did you treat others with kindness but with clarity? This test is not to punish. It reminds you that the self is forged through small choices, and the camera is your conscience. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he controls his judgments and actions, everything else is outside. So on the throne you play the gatekeeper of judgment. You do not let praise lift you too high, you do not let insults break you down. You see events, name them, and choose your response by the virtue you set. Seneca warned that life is wasted when lived without intent. On the throne you do not drift with feelings, you steer with values. You can write a one-page script for your role today. The role of a reliable teammate, the role of a present father, the role of a calm leader. Each role can be 3 lines. I show up on time and prepared. I speak less and do more. I choose calm before I choose being right. Place the page in your notebook on the desk or on the steering wheel. You do not need poetic words. You need rules that are clear and repeated. Take an office in Boston. A young manager loses his cool when projects run late. He chooses the role of calm leader. His script is 3 lines. I accept reality. I separate people from problems. I take the next small step. Before meetings, he sits for 2 minutes, breathes slowly, and reads the lines. He sets his palm on the table when pressure spikes, letting the body remind the mind to return to the role. In Houston, a medical resident drowns in the speed of the ER. She chooses the role of decision-maker under pressure. Her script is 3 lines. I see the priority. I speak short and clearly. I review after tasks are done. Before each shift, she reads it. The result is fewer mistakes, fewer arguments, even though the storm still blows. The throne is also where you retire old roles. Everyone has one that no longer fits. The role of the pleaser, the role of the hothead demanding respect. The role of the avoider is afraid of failure. Write the old role. Thank you for once protecting you. Then set it down. Write the new role. Start by living it in a small moment. When a co-worker makes unfair demands, you neither snap nor cave. You say one short line. I hear your request, but my standard is quality. I need more time to do it right. That one line is a rehearsal of the new role. Do not let this practice turn into fake theater. The key is honesty and checking back. At night, open your notebook and compare. How much of the day did I live the role in the 3 chosen scenes? You do not need numbers. Just describe honestly. I slowed before answering. I held eye contact when attacked. I put the phone down when with my child. If you slipped, write 1 reset line. Tomorrow, what will I do differently? Then close the book and sleep in peace. You can link the role with small gestures as triggers. Touch the pillar card in your wallet. Roll your shoulders back before entering a room. Place your hand on your chest before replying. Sit upright before typing. Each gesture is a switch. Flip the switch and turn on the role. This is how the mind anchors in the body, and the body pulls the mind back when the train sways. When fear comes, the throne does not demand a grand act of courage. It only asks for the first small act. 1 tough call in 2 minutes. 1 clear email in 3 lines. 1 step into the room you avoid. Small courage repeated often becomes considerable courage. The self is trained in units of action. There will be days you rehearse and still slip. There will be moments when you speak faster than you wanted and breathe shallowly when cornered. This is normal. The throne does not punish. The throne calls you back. Stand tall, breathe slow, repeat the short line and continue the roll. The win or loss of one day does not define you. How often you return and your loyalty to the better role define you. Remember the core. The Stoic does not play a role to be praised. He plays a role to match virtue. Reputation comes later. Peace comes now. When you live the role, you sleep more deeply, worry less about what others think, and react less to the noise because you already have a throne inside to sit on when storms arrive. The inner fortress is complete when you rise from the throne of self. The gate is firm, the yard is calm, the war room is set, the pillar is strong, the study is steady, the dojo is alive, and the throne is yours. All connected as one system, you no longer start the day reacting, you start the day in command. Now step onto the fortress peak. Look back at the path you just walked. Recall each layer like 7 foundation stones, and choose one small step to begin again tomorrow morning. A fortress does not stand on one loud shout. A fortress stands from each brick placed right day after day. You have walked through 7 layers. The gate of discipline, the yard of silence, the war room of strategy, the pillar of truth, the study of reflection, the dojo of will, the throne of self. Now you stand on the peak of the fortress. The wind is soft, the walls are steady. Below is a day waiting for you, no more hurried voices, no more feeling dragged away, only an apparent calmness. You know what you will do, you know what you will let pass, you know what you will hold. Look back at each layer as 7 foundation stones. 1. The gate of discipline. You wake at the time you set, no negotiation. That is the first promise. 2. The yard of silence. You give 10 minutes to breath and presence. You close the first door of the day to noise. 3. The war room of strategy. You picture collisions. You choose responses. You write one small card and carry it all day. 4. The pillar of truth. You hold one line as your anchor. You read it while standing tall. 5. The study of reflection. You write a few lines to adjust judgment. You turn words into walls. 6. The dojo of will. You let the body pull the spirit up. You swear as a vow. 7. The throne of self. You rehearse your best version. You live the role you have chosen. From here you choose one small step to begin tomorrow morning. If you are new, start with 3 points. Wake at the time you set. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Write 4 lines in your notebook. Those 3 are enough for the foundation. When the foundation is firm, add 1 more. Read your pillar. When the pillar stands, add another. 10 minutes of movement, small steps. No rush, no show. Just consistency. You can use a 30-day frame. Week 1, secure the gate and the yard. Week 2, train the war room and the pillar. Write steadily in the study in week 3, and add the dojo movement. In week 4, rehearse the throne for 2 minutes each morning. Each day, mark a small box. You do not need a big prize. The prize is trust in yourself. The prize is a day walked with a straight back. Listen, do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for perfection. Do not wait for new tools. You already have enough. You have breath. You have a corner of a desk. You have 2 feet. You have 1 line to remind yourself. Start there. Then repeat. All lasting change begins in quiet. No one claps for your 10 minutes of silence, but those 10 minutes will catch you up for the rest of the day. Remember this. Each morning is a gate. If you do not guard it, the enemy will enter. The enemy is the snooze button, the meaningless noise, the nameless anger, the feeling of being small. If you guard it, the enemy stays outside the wall. You do not erase all noise, you do not let it in. That is enough to protect your peace. When you slip, reset. Read the pillar once. Take one slow breath. Write one line. What can I do in 5 minutes now? Then do it. Small wins add to small wins. The day passes, but sovereignty remains. Others may shout. You speak short and clearly. Distractions may push in. You keep priorities simple and right. Waves may rise. You stand tall. Before you leave the fortress peak, make one promise for tomorrow morning. I guard the gate. I guard my life. Write that line in your notebook. Place it on your desk. So when dawn comes, you see it before you see the screen. If this message speaks to you, leave one line of affirmation. I guard the gate each morning. I guard my mind in the storm. I move slowly and steadily. Share this with a friend who needs a quiet morning. Subscribe to Sovereign Stoic for more short but steady practices. Strength is not out there. Strength is already inside your inner fortress. All you need is to guard it. All you need is to repeat. All you need is to stand tall and walk out.